What it is, everybody. Happy Black Friday weekend. Coming to you live. Saturday of Black Friday weekend. Did you guys go out shopping? Apparently nobody did. I'll show you that news. Big show today. Donald Trump has been lighting up Twitter via Truth Social, but also directly via Twitter for once. He's actually using that account. So he had a tweet that might be his biggest tweet of all time, which I'll have to show you, which does not relate to the title of the show. So I'll show you that. He's been saying a lot of things about kicking out foreigners from this country, which we've been talking about and some other people have been talking about doing. So I think he's particularly upset about the National Guards person who was killed by the Afghani. So lots of moves on the foreigner front, which I'll discuss with you guys today. News about about Venezuela, which is that he declared a no-fly zone today, which means that we are basically, I believe, one step away from war with Venezuela, if not already. Declaring a no-fly zone may already be an act of war. So big news. If we go to war with Venezuela, what happens to MAGA? Because he's supposed to be an anti-war, anti-intervention president. So who has gotten hold of the presidency? Is it Marco Rubio? We'll discuss. So welcome in. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. It's still Thanksgiving weekend, so people might still be away with their family and so forth. I got back today in time to do a show for you guys today. So we'll see if people show up, but it is still technically a holiday. People might be watching wrestling, it looks like. People might be watching college football, as usual for Saturdays. Thanks, W. Birkin. I credit the AI that's working on my face. It makes me very pretty, I feel like. And unnoticeable. I could look like a female, though. I'm going to show you that today. So I am modified just a little bit. A little AI touch-up. Do you want to see what it looks like if I go a little more extreme? I can show you. Let's see. Let's turn it up. Camera. Visual effects. Enhanced skin appearance. Oh, I'm not even enhancing my skin right now. Maybe I do look good. There. Now it's enhanced. But I'll enhance it all the way for you. There, I have rosy cheeks and stuff. Let me see how that looks. There, what do you think of that? Now I look a little strange. It really gets rid of all the wrinkles and stuff. I wonder if I move around if it'll... Yeah, so that's the AI that comes with my streaming software. I'll tone it down a little bit. Visual effects. I'll just do the first level so it's not so noticeable. But thanks, guys. Trying to live forever. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the mouse experiments today because Elon Musk, for some reason, is retweeting that, even though he's the one proposing that we're all going to live in a utopia. So we're going to continue to talk about that. So we're going to talk about mouse utopia or this other experiment called something 25. What happens to rats, which are like us in some ways, in a lot of ways, I guess, when you give them everything they need and plenty of space to run around, what happens to their society? We're going to talk about population collapse, maybe a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about economics and stuff, and we'll just make sure everybody's doing okay. We'll get into all of it on today's show. So thanks for joining me. If you want to support the show, I have a scroll running across the bottom of the screen. You can go to our store, truthclothing.io, where we have one page. We're down to one page of shirts. It's a clearance sale, so it is like Black Friday weekend. So this is Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Christmas Eve sales, all rolled into one. It's actually a liquidation sale at Truth Revolution Clothing. So I'll show you the one. We're down to one screen of products, and they are all on sale for generally $10 or $5 for very high quality shirts and like baseball jerseys. So we still have some propaganda baseball jerseys in stock. Apparently, I was in the stock room today looking at shirts. We have Bitcoin and Litecoin shirts. The Litecoin shirts are $5. Bitcoin shirts are $10. And we have these Made in the USA shirts, Freedom of Face from the mask days. Those are $5. Those should be like $50 shirts. All for sale for $5 because they were made in America and with American cotton. Some nice women's styles for all the ladies. These are really great women's shirts that say question everything, which is a great generic message. And everybody seems to respond to it when you wear it out in public. So check those out, $10 each or $5 each. Stock up while we still have your size in stock. They will never be available again. truthclothing.io. Okay. And then also you can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil to drop super chats or Cash App at $ LTV411. And I'll read the coffees at the end of the show. So we got our promos out of the way. We appreciate everybody who supports the show, buys t-shirts, gives us donations. We have some expenses associated with the show, as well as living and so forth. So we appreciate all that stuff. So we are rolling. Okay, let's do our intro and then we'll get on with the show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll try to make it a good one. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, that's absolutely correct. The real news every day, 6 days a week right now. It might turn into 7. We'll see. All right, I'll show you Black Friday news first. Did you go out shopping? I did. I went to some of the stores. They were basically empty or no busier than any other weekend from me visiting them. Even the day before Thanksgiving when people would be stocking up on stuff, I went to Costco. It wasn't that busy. And then Black Friday, I didn't go out, but I went out today to the shops. It wasn't that busy. This is what people are posting about it. I'll show you. This was Best Buy. Remember, people used to line up outside of Best Buy. They used to set up camps with tents in the cold Thursday night after Thanksgiving to wait for the cheap TV deals at Best Buy where they'd sell you like a stripped down TV with no features and call it a sale. Well, that's what used to happen. Here is video from a Best Buy just so you can see. Well, they have lots of stuff out, but nobody in the stores. These are the reports we're getting. So that's Best Buy. People did line up outside of Target to get a free gift bag. People are posting what was in the gift bag, which was relatively disappointing. Apparently, to the first 100 customers at Target, here's what they got in their gift bags. Uno cards, nerds, some shampoo, and a small travel bottle. Electrolyte drink mix. So that's what Black Friday has turned into, I guess. So that's the big winners at Target, but I'll give you the numbers too. Here's the numbers, which I guess are pretty good. I guess everybody buys everything online. So the report is that U.S. Black Friday sales hit record high. U.S. online Black Friday sales reached a record $11.8 billion, up 9.1% from last year, according to Adobe Analytics. Adobe expects Americans to spend $5.5 billion on Saturday and $5.9 billion on Sunday. Salesforce reported $18 billion in total Black Friday spending, with luxury apparel and accessories among the top sellers. Despite higher spending, shoppers bought fewer items due to rising prices. In-store traffic was quieter as many consumers worried about overspending amid inflation and economic uncertainty. Cyber Monday is projected to lead the season with $14.2 billion in online sales. So people are exuberant about the economy right now and about the stock market. You can argue they might be over exuberant. People expect that rates are going to come down next year. Trump says he's going to keep the stock market at an all-time high. We're going to get refunds, apparently, from paying taxes on tariffs. We're supposed to get $2,000 refunds last year. So everybody's, I don't know, the mood out there for stocks and Bitcoin and gold, it was a little funky a few weeks ago. Now it's like everybody's full on again. So that's the mood out there. I do not know. I do not know if they should be. We are entering a state of uncertainty. We have layoffs at Amazon, 2,000 engineers, which could be due to AI, are being laid off at Amazon. That's reported in the news. So we'll see how things go. We will see how things go and how we move into our communist utopia. And we'll cover the communist utopia news today. I'm just looking. Are people still lining up to get toilet paper? Well, that was during COVID. I had a stash of toilet paper during COVID. I saw it coming. Last time I visited Best Buy, people are saying they never go out to buy things anymore. Target stock is way down. I read an article about that. Apparently, these brick and mortar retail stores like Target are not doing that great right now or anymore. Places that used to be really hot. I still go there, but I just go there to buy cheap stuff like pasta sauce. That's what I go there for. Then I go to Costco for everything else. People like Costco still. All right, so here's the news of the today. The news I led with is that Donald Trump tweeted out to all airlines, pilots, drug dealers, and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. That's the tweet. So that was from early this morning. He has declared a no-fly zone over Venezuela, which is an act of war, I believe. Highly interventionist. We have all those warships in there. We've been blowing up boats. We have aircraft carriers, people carriers, amphibious vehicles, submarines, all parked outside of Venezuela, which just happens to be sitting on the largest oil supply on Earth. And Trump claims we're doing it because of drugs, I believe. Drugs that are killing Americans, of which they don't transport any of the main drugs that are killing Americans. They don't transport any fentanyl through Venezuela, which is the drug that's killing Americans. Apparently, some cocaine goes through there, which isn't the thing to blame for our death and overdose crisis. So it's and not only that, people are pointing out that he just pardoned this guy, Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras. And he made a comment about who people should vote for in Honduras. This is the former president of Honduras, who was sentenced to 45 years in prison for conspiring to distribute more than 400 tons of cocaine. So he just pardoned this guy, who apparently conspired to distribute more than 400 tons of cocaine. And we're declaring a no-fly zone in Venezuela, maybe, I guess, just inches away from going to war with them. And meanwhile, we've been blowing up boats, which some international organizations have declared is illegal, and which many senators and congressmen are worried about being illegal too, including Rand Paul. So it's a pretty sticky situation. And if he goes to war, we'll just have to see how many people support him. I mean, I know there are people that will, but what's the reason? The reason being given is that he's a narco trafficker. We're at war with them. All the fentanyl comes from China and Mexico. So cocaine, war on drugs. I don't know if people are really behind that. So that's the news coming out of Venezuela today. Very concerned about going into a regime change war. People say it's Rubio pushing him. So that's a tweet. 44 million views on that tweet. So we could be close. Could happen tomorrow. Now, President Trump has been tweeting up a storm. I'll show you the tweet everyone is talking about. Oh, he's been tweeting about a lot of different things. Here it is. On Thanksgiving night, here's what he said. It's a long one, but people are very excited about it. It's got 72 million views. So in case you missed it, this is what he said. A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all of our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries throughout the world for being politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. The official United States foreign population stands at 53 million people, most of which are on welfare, from failed nations, or from prisons, mental institutions, gangs, or drug cartels. They and their children are supported through massive payments from patriotic American citizens who, because of their beautiful hearts, do not want to openly complain or cause trouble in any way, shape, or form. They put up with what has happened to our country, but it's eating them alive to do so. A migrant earning $30,000 with a green card will get roughly $50,000 in yearly benefits for their family. The real migrant population is much higher. This refugee burden is the leading cause of social dysfunction in America. something that did not exist after World War II. Failed schools, high crime, urban decay, overcrowded hospitals, housing shortages, and large deficits, etc. As an example, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somalian gangs completely taking over the Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope they will be left alone. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congressman woman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, and who probably came to the USA illegally and that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated, when her place of origin is a decadent, backward, and crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools, etc. Even if we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the US system to fully recover, terminate all the millions of Biden illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, end all federal benefits and subsidies to non-citizens of our country, denaturalize migrants who undermine domestic tranquility, and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. These goals will be pursued with the aim of achieving a major reduction in illegal and disruptive populations, including those admitted through an unauthorized and illegal auto pen approval process. Only reverse migration can fully cure this situation. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to all, except those that hate, steal, murder, and destroy everything that America stands for. You won't be here for long. So there you go. That's the tweet. He says that Tim Walz is retarded. He says that Ilhan Omar married her brother. These are some of the things people point out. He says that immigration policy has ruined our country, housing, schools, hospitals, deficits. I have to do some research to see if foreign-born people in America use more in social benefits than Americans on average. But surely many of them do. I think he's on this rant because of the person who killed the National Guard people. I'm not totally sure. It's arguable how much he's going to be able to do, but he can pause migration. And he posted about why he's allowed to do that. So that will be effective immediately. He said in a separate tweet, so that's the tweet. Lots of people celebrating this tweet. As for me, I agree that many foreigners here bring down our wages, both illegal and legal immigrants, push down wages, crowd up hospitals, public schools. Apparently, beaches in Los Angeles were vacant when ICE was in town. But I think he has at least a point for sure. But it's going to be problematic to get rid of the people that are here. And you know what he said that was weird? He said, they're stuck with us. They think we're stuck with them. No, they're stuck with us. Here's what he said.
It's pretty funny. Well, I think it's funny, at least. All the illegals, they still think we're stuck with them. No, no, no. You're about to be stuck in here with us. Clock is ticking. Could be a soft tick, could be a loud one. Hard to say. A word of advice, though, I'd scram if I were you. Skedaddle. Vamoose, leave while you still can. Alligator Alcatraz is just the beginning. Next up is Shark Shawshank. Sharks, very dangerous, not the most reasonable of beasts. Some of you have seen the Discovery Channel and know what I'm talking about. Shark Week, very exciting. We'll live stream escape attempts, justice and economic stimulus in one. Rikers with grizzly bears is an option as well. We could use a snappier name, but the concept is strong to very strong in a big way, quite frankly. It's pretty funny. Well, I think it's funny, at least. All the illegals.
Did I miss the part? Let me hear it.
They still think we're stuck with them. No, no, no. You're about to be stuck in here with us. Clock is ticking.
They think we're stuck with them. They're about to be stuck here with us. So it's 50-50 split right now, whether people agree with his immigration policy. A lot of people, where it was a lot more people did like his immigration policy when he got elected. Now a lot of people are opposed to it, but it's about 50-50. They think he's taking it a little too far. He said he would get rid of the bad people, but he's going after all kinds of different people who came here illegally or remain here illegally. Alligator Alcatraz, grizzly bear Rikers Island. Where the thing about getting rid of illegal immigrants or immigrants in general or people in general is that if we're about to lose jobs and a lot of menial work is going to be taken over by robots, then we would want fewer people here if there are going to be fewer jobs and more higher American to foreigner ratio. So this, again, appears to be the result of the Afghani who came in, who was a CIA asset, who Trump says just went cuckoo. He just went cuckoo. So here he is talking about that Afghani guy. It was led in by Biden, but apparently vetted by Trump as well.
U.S. officials say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other. And that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens soon.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked. There were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go. We were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision. And we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake.
I don't know what we were supposed to do with them. It was Afghans who like this guy, worked with the U.S. government and probably would have been killed if we left them there by the Taliban, who ended up being in charge again. So I'm not, not sure what we were supposed to do with them. And then he says it's going to be impossible to throw them out. Yeah, I think what he's demanding, a lot of it is going to be very difficult. Getting people out once they're here, not going to be easy. They're talking about shutting off benefits for some illegal immigrants, I believe, which has to do with a tax break that they get. They declared that today. Here's Trump. Oh, well, here's Lindsey Graham, who's the one that actually let them in as much as Joe Biden. So here's Lindsey Graham saying that Afghan militants need to stay.
We're going to get this done. This is the right thing to do. There's no other ending that is acceptable to me. The people who were there with us in the fight that are here in America need to stay. This will be their new home. So we have a moral obligation to these people. They will make great citizens over time. We're going to get this done.
There you go. So that was Lindsey Graham saying they need to stay and they'll become great citizens. These Afghanis who worked with us. Whereas, and I have some Afghani news. Where is this? Here's where Trump justified shutting down entry of aliens here. So here's what he put on Truth Social. Immigration and Nationality Act, Section 212F. Whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens or any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may, by proclamation, and for such period as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose on the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate. So there's the law apparently justifying him being able to at least temporarily pause admission from certain countries that he calls third world countries. I've heard there are going to be some legal hurdles to some of the other things he wants to do, like denaturalizing foreign-born American citizens and any others who've gotten through the green card process and so forth. There are going to be some legal hurdles for that. It won't be that simple. So, but yeah, one of the countries people fled to the United States from is Venezuela, by the way. Somebody in the chat is saying that America destroys the countries and then they come here. That's kind of true, if they can make it. But yeah, we were the ones who went to war with Afghanistan, and then they worked with us. Here are hold on, I think I have something on Afghan specifically. Okay, maybe not. I have Muslims in Minnesota. Oh, here's Trump's Truth Social post about ending the auto pen, which I don't think he's going to be able to do, actually, because they recognize the auto pen as being a legitimate way to sign things. So I'm not sure if he can do this, but he did put on Truth Social, any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. The auto pen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. The radical left lunatics circling Biden around the beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office took the presidency away from him. I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the auto pen did so illegally. Joe Biden was not involved in the auto pen process, and if he says he was, he will be brought up on charges of perjury. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, well, that would include all the pardons. So then he could go after Fauci. All the pardons except the one against his own son, against Hunter, which he signed personally. But I think there's some legal issue with this too, because they do recognize the auto pen as being a legitimate way to sign things. So we'll see if he can do that one. But like I said, he's been very active. He is activated. He also says that Republicans need to be talking more about what he's done with healthcare by lowering prices by 500, 600, and 700%. Some people argue with that math because you can only bring down prices 100%, technically. He says that if Republicans talk about that, then they'll win. I am the affordability president, says Donald Trump on Truth Social. Oh, here's an Afghani. Yeah, I did have something. Here's an Afghan national saying he's going to blow up Americans. You'll have to read the subtitles. I will commit suicide on anyone who has a problem with the Afghans. There is no problem. Where's your address?
Dallas Fort Worth. I'm going
to kill your infidels. I'm going to kill anyone who opposes the Afghans. He's a taxi driver. So anyway, that goes on for a while. He said he's going to build a suicide bomb with his car and blow up Americans. This is a video posted exclusively, apparently, by Benny Johnson 3 hours ago. So people are posting those kind of things, as well as Muslims in Minnesota chanting "Death to America" right here. Death to America is what they're saying.
Not a great look. The mayor condemned it. The White House condemned it. But what about Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib? She reps Dearborn. Is she okay with her constituents chanting "Death to America"? Fox Business correspondent Hillary Vaughn asked her. Watch.
Congresswoman Tlaib.
Fox News. I don't talk to Fox News.
At a rally in your district, people were chanting "Death to America." Do you condemn?
I do not talk to Fox News.
But do you condemn chants of "Death to America"?
I don't talk to people that use racist tropes.
Why can't you just say whether or not you condemn people chanting "Death to America"? Why are you afraid to talk to Fox?
Fox News is not listen, using racist tropes towards my community is what Fox News is about, and I don't talk to Fox News.
Is "Death to America" racist?
Fox News.
Is chanting "Death to America" racist?
I'm talking about your guys' racist tropes. You know, you guys know exactly what you do. I know you're Islamophobic, but you guys got to go deal with it on your own self. You're not going to use me.
So there you go. Little war. People are concerned, more concerned. People want to be more concerned, I think, with Muslims than Jews, for sure. So as far as like Fox News and stuff goes, people claim that there is going to be a Muslim attempt to take over America. There aren't that many of them here yet, but there are a lot of them in Dearborn, Michigan. And there are some issues going on there that look kind of troublesome. So I understand. Death to America when you're in America? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't quite make sense. So that's what people are talking about. As far as Muslims and Afghans, I think that's all the news I have on it. Just Donald Trump really tweeting out a lot. I think trying to get his followers back on board. Yeah, I think just trying to get his followers back on board. Like this, he says he's going to end the income tax within the next couple of years. So this is another thing people are excited about. No income tax, lower interest rates, $2,000 checks, buy stocks.
For the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large. And yet other countries who have been ripping us off for many, many years, and many years they've just been ripping us to shreds. For the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out.
Okay, this country used to run on tariffs. We used to have no income tax until 1913. Coincidentally, the year they created the Federal Reserve. So we used to have no income tax. They started out with a very small income tax on rich people. We got all of the money we needed to run the government, which was small, from tariffs. But the math doesn't add up. I'm asking how much we're going to take in from tariffs this year. We're only going to take in, if we have the tariffs we put on, it says total tariff revenue for this year is $195 billion. And it's projected to be full calendar year. It's projected over 10 years to be $2.3 trillion from new tariffs over the next 10 years by the Tax Foundation. CBO says $3 trillion in tariffs over 11 years. The amount we take in from taxes is like $4 or $5 trillion a year. And we have budget of $7 trillion because we're still maxing out budget deficits. Almost $2 trillion budget deficits every year since COVID, and they haven't gotten smaller. And if we only got 200 billion, I think that most of it will be refunded if we all get $2,000 each. That's about how much we'll get. So I have no idea. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. I'll just ask, how much do we take in income taxes? I'll find out. I think it's around 4 or 5 trillion. Yeah. In 2025, fiscal year 2025, which ended September 30th, we took in 3.124 trillion in income taxes. So I'm not, unless tariffs go, if we raise tariffs more to collect $3 or $4 trillion in taxes, then it'll never happen because we'll never import anything again, because the only way we pay those taxes is if we import the stuff still. But if the tariffs go up so much that the stuff becomes unaffordable, then we just won't import as much. So there's no way, there's no possible way to replace income tax with tariffs the way with the size the government is, unless you cut the government down to just a little bitty amount of what it is. And he already got rid of Doge, so that's not happening. So people are excited about him saying that, but he must just be saying that to pump people up. There's literally, it's just literally impossible. There's no way to get what we need to run the current size of the U.S. federal government on tariffs alone. We're only collecting a few $100 billion. And we're going to refund most of it, apparently. So that seems just a way to pump up voters. Sounds nice. I agree that it would be good. But all right, I'm going to show you some AI stuff. I'm going to talk to you about the mouse trials. Now we're going to talk about the future. This giant fire happened in, oh, damn it. The tweet I have doesn't say. I forgot where it happened. Another giant high-rise fire, similar to what happened in the UK at Grenfell Tower, because it's housing projects that house poor and old people, all burned up for over 24 hours. And the point that this person is making, that none of the buildings collapsed. So all of the high-rise fires in the history of the world, steel skyscrapers that have had fires, the only ones that ever collapsed, as if they were controlled demolition, were on 9/11, 2001 in New York City. So that's the view of the burnt up towers. But that happened, I believe, Thanksgiving Day. It was in Hong Kong. Thanks, Sean. In Hong Kong. So, and these are housing projects for poor people and old people who now no longer have anywhere to live. So if you're going to have a conspiracy theory about it, maybe they're trying to move the poor people out and put rich people in. But another conspiracy theory about it is it's another high-rise fire that burned for a long time and none of the buildings collapsed. Still never happened. So, all right. So I've been talking a lot about how we're moving toward communism, according to people like Elon Musk and Sam Altman. Sam Altman set up a project, UBI. Sam Altman set up a project of giving people universal basic income to see what happened. I went over that on the show the last time I was on, where it was a failure. People don't work more. They don't start new businesses. They don't spend more time with their kids. They mostly get lazy. And they don't work. So, and Sam Altman has proposed UBI. Elon Musk wants us all to have high basic income, or no, universal high income. And he says we're all going to be happy. Work will be optional, etc. So it's interesting that he posted this tweet shared by Nayib Bukele about the Universe 25 experiment. So let me read that to you about what happens when mice, not rats, I said rats, mice, who are similar enough to us that we run tests on them to see what they do in case it would be indicative of anything humans would do. So here's the experiment. The Universe 25 experiment. It is one of the most terrifying experiments in the history of science, which, through the behavior of a colony of mice, is an attempt by scientists to explain human societies. The idea of Universe 25 came from the American scientist John Calhoun, who created an ideal world in which hundreds of mice would live and reproduce. More specifically, Calhoun built the so-called paradise of mice, a specially designed space where rodents had abundance of food and water, as well as a large living space. In the beginning, he placed 4 pairs of mice that in a short term began to reproduce, resulting in their population growing rapidly. However, after 315 days, their reproduction began to decrease significantly. When the number of rodents reached 600, a hierarchy was formed between them, and then the so-called wretches appeared. The larger rodents began to attack the group, with the result that many males begin to collapse psychologically. As a result, the females did not protect themselves and in turn became aggressive towards their young. As time went on, the females showed more and more aggressive behavior, isolation elements, and lack of reproductive mood. There was a low birth rate and, at the same time, an increase in mortality in younger rodents. Then, a new class of male rodents appeared, the so-called beautiful mice. They refused to mate with the females or to fight for their space. All they cared about was food and sleep. At one point, beautiful males and isolated females made up the majority of the population. As time went on, juvenile mortality reached 100% and reproduction reached 0. Among the endangered mice, homosexuality was observed, and at the same time, cannibalism increased, despite the fact that there was plenty of food. 2 years after the start of the experiment, the last baby of the colony was born. By 1973, he had killed the last mouse in the universe 25. John Calhoun repeated the same experiment 25 more times, and each time the result was the same. Weird that Elon Musk is posting this, since Elon Musk is proposing that future for us. And he says it's going to be great. Work will be optional. I have some videos about it.
A pathological situation like this gives us an understanding of what may be going on in the human situation, what might go on and be catastrophic. And what is really catastrophic and where the real fear is on a level where the mice and man are extremely similar. It does get programmed less by genetics, less by heredity than for the mice, much more cultural. But it's just as subject to being disorganized, to having a program disorganized through inappropriate sequences of contacts, too many contacts. And part of the danger is that we don't have an adequate establishment. We're now seeing, because the quote establishment doesn't provide all appropriate channels, we should destroy the establishment. We need better establishment to allow interrelationships, to protect us from too many contacts, but to allow us for those contacts which we do engage in to be more meaningful for our own lives and for meaningful to others in a compassionate sense of each of us being involved in helping the other to fulfill his role.
The thing about working as we work for each other, so I don't know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about the establishment not setting up the right parameters. I'll see what else he says. But we do things for other humans when we go to work, theoretically. So theoretically, under the capitalist system, when we go to work, we're doing things that benefit other humans. That's why we get paid for it.
We have to have a long time perspective, both in the past and the future, and where we may go, and that the issue, the big crisis now is not, when we think of environment relating to number of people, it's not number of people, it's people times capacities of the average individual or the total human capacity. Now, if we can choose, now's the time for choosing a goal. And this part relates to numbers, but it also pertains to whether we're going to select from what has been the definition of man for the last 40,000 years, some aspect of this. One of these is what we call human potentiality, the capacities of the average individual to understand, develop new insights, to communicate with his fellows more effectively. If that is a major overriding goal and is selected, and we select, and one of the necessities for that is maintaining a changing environment, which includes numbers. And the only way to do that now is to decrease numbers, so that if we choose the goal of gradually going into a declining population with increasing human potentiality, we're now at 1970. The critical point is about 75 years from now, but there's a tremendous time lag in social change.
Interesting. Well, these videos were posted as him talking about, that's John Calhoun talking about it, I guess, and about the results he has and what humans need to do. 75 years from 1970 would be 2045. But he wouldn't have anticipated the phase we're in now with the machines. The mice went insane, refused to breed, and started eating each other. Here's a clip about where we are now. The state of South Korea. South Korea is apparently going extinct, or South Koreans are going extinct. Saw something today. It said 100 out of 100 South Koreans, you'll have 4 great-grandchildren, if you can believe that. Something like a 96% population decline in South Korea. I think it's economic in a lot of ways, but you'll have to explain it some other ways too. But it's true, apparently, that Generation Z does not have sex as much. Apparently, people just don't have sex as much. It could be because they're living at home. It could be because, they don't have as much money to go out on dates and stuff. You can blame pornography, women working. But for whatever reason, people are having fewer kids. Americans are below population maintenance. We're supposed to have 2.1 kids per couple to maintain the population. And we're at like 1.7 now and on a decline. In South Korea, it's like less than 1. It's like 0.7 babies per every couple. Attrest Artist says, if the perfect symbol of a woman is AI, then humans can never attain that to attract a mate. Yeah, lots of kids interact with AI chatbots, companion chatbots, which can provide something that no human would ever provide. They're just nicer, more attentive, never upset with you, etc. They can give you a totally unrealistic love affair. And there's a Reddit forum called My AI Boyfriend. I guess it's mostly women that have AI boyfriends, but I've heard it the other way around too. And I believe the OnlyFans problem, if you think it's a problem, may be solved by the machines as well. We're just getting to the point very rapidly that we can be replicated very well. I already talked about music. AI music now has reached the top of the charts in certain categories. And it's pretty good. in my estimation, the stuff that's chart topping. So we're not far from music being replaced. Eventually, pornography will be replaced. And then that'll put a lot of women out of work who are on OnlyFans, but it won't stop the pornography. I'm sure a lot of people think that's good enough for them to remove the sex need. But females also don't have the money need anymore. In the past, men would make money or become rock stars, even if they didn't make money, to attract women. In the past, men would make money because women didn't make as much money and they kind of needed some help. But now that women are more and more independent and able to fend for themselves because of feminism and trying to reduce the gender pay gap, now that women have as many, if not more, opportunities than men, now that women make up more of college graduates than men, they don't need a man, a lot of them say. So this is what Weinstein said about it on Joe Rogan. That might be interesting.
You don't always live in an era where there's an important one, in your town that you can join. In general, that's not what people do with life. And what I think has happened is, well, frankly, I'm going to connect it to the sexual revolution. Right? The sexual revolution creates the opportunity to get one of the most profound rewards, in fact, the most profound reward that the universe has ever produced, as far as we know, without having to invest very much work at all. Right? So by making sex common, it totally altered the way people viewed the number of years they had to live. Right? They could afford to put off child rearing. Right? It could be distant in the future, which left all of these young people with all of this energy who might well not have been involved in movements if they were struggling to, raise a family. But because the family part has been put off so long, right, it is considered abnormal to marry early. It is considered normal not to. What people do is they take the energy, the seriousness of purpose that would ordinarily be directed into managing a marriage and the role of being a parent, and they put it into something. And Heather has pointed out that this is especially powerful with young women who seem to take on causes, and they defend them like a mother defending her child. That's a very powerful force. And the point is, if the idea is, well, climate change is a threat, and your role here on Earth is to make sure that that threat is addressed, and you put the mama bear energy into your climate change work, well, that's pretty frightening, especially if climate change isn't the threat that it's been made out to be, right? You have a large number of mama bears doing this ferocious work, and there's a question about what it even is, whether that's even in the top 10 list of concerns we ought to have. So anyway, the connection I wanted to draw is that the projection that you're telling me Elon has made about high income for everybody is a little bit like another version of that, right? It's like, okay, well, sex became relatively easy to access as a result of reliable birth control plus abortion. And then now wealth, the ability, purchasing power, is going to become trivial as a result of AI. I don't know if that's likely, but let's say that Elon is right about that. Well, okay, then what exactly is supposed to structure your orientation to the universe? What is supposed to give you purpose? If it's not producing kids and protecting them from the horrors of the world and making them strong so that they can go out into it and accomplish important things of their own. And it's not creating wealth so that you will be rewarded and that your spouse will smile on you, whatever it is, then what is human purpose? I think this is a terrifying prospect that everything might be taken care of for us and leave human beings um, listless.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What are we going to do with our energy? We're biologically programmed to fight for resources between one another. We're biologically programmed to protect our resources, our community, our family, etc. What happens when everybody gets resources? We have no family to protect, and we're all by ourselves because we don't feel the need to mate anymore. People become obsessed with things like they are now, like environmental causes, let's say. It's not looking good. The future is not looking that great, I have to say. Mouse or Universe 25. Here's actually, this relates to women being used for the Great Reset. This is an interesting clip. Oh, I actually haven't listened to it, but it's a clip of the ex-wife of Sergey Brin saying that the tech wife mafia was used for the WEF's Great Reset. Let's listen to that a little bit, see if it's interesting.
But what happened around the pandemic is that this whole other segment, what I don't think many of the tech mafia wives realize is that they were used to set the groundwork for what was called like the reset, what is called generally as like the reset by the Klaus Schwabs,
like
of
the
the
Great
world.
Reset.
The Great Reset. Yeah. They openly talk about this Great Reset.
Yeah.
So the tech wife mafias, I believe, were kind of being conscripted in many ways, and their money especially was being conscripted in to set the groundwork for the Great Reset.
Yeah. Specifically through
a network of NGO advisors, relationship with Hollywood, relationship with Davos, and their own companies. So if you look at like who's on these boards, who hangs out with each other, how the culture of tech wealth works, like Silicon Valley tech wealth, and that small group of people responsible for a huge amount of money and a huge amount of NGO activity across the United States. It's a really small group of people, and it's a really small group of people making these decisions.
Yeah.
And then completely blind to everything else that's going on and how their groundwork is being used to then enable these other policies, these Great Reset policies. Now, what this group of women doesn't realize is that in their haste, these women are all very busy.
Yeah.
They have multiple properties. They have tons of staff. They have staff issues, chronic staff issues. Their kids are busy. Their kids oftentimes have some health issues as well. A lot of them have relationship issues with their husbands. And a lot of them themselves are like medicated on SSRIs and antidepressants and all of that because it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
So, so it's chaos, and these women find their meaning through their philanthropic work.
Yeah.
and they find themselves. Like I would find myself. That was my self-worth, was my philanthropic work, and I really believed in it.
Mhm.
I really believed that I was giving Black communities a chance to like rise up out of oppression. I really believed that I was helping Indigenous communities rise up out of oppression. And now that I look back and see how all those grants were forming, you know, because my version of success is those communities are actually uplifted.
Yeah. Not just more money pumped into them.
Not just
Yeah.
more money. No, the problems of the community have gotten worse. Crime in the community has gotten worse. Mental health in the Native community, the Indigenous community, has gotten worse. They will even say, the Indigenous community will even say that their biggest supporters in Congress have been Republicans, but yet they continue to vote Democrat.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that is this, it's like the whole model is broken.
Mm.
The whole model makes everybody worse off. And now we're contending with the freaking Great Reset that we're now realizing is a terrible idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that many of our climate change issues are geoengineering issues.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is like, at the end of the day, they always go to that. They're like, but climate change. And then,
Yeah,
and
that
was
really
like,
is the end all be all. Like, you have to let us do this because of climate change.
yeah. Social justice and climate change, it always boils down to those two things, and it gets progressive women 100% of the time.
It does. It does.
So there you go. It's definitely on topic with what Brett Weinstein was talking about. So they get the women to support these causes: social justice, climate change. And indigenous people in the United States get free money because we feel bad for displacing them. They're actually amongst the people in America who get a substantial basic income, and they're actually the worst off because of it. Highest rates of like alcoholism, other crimes. And then the only solace they have, as far as businesses go, they set up casinos. But they actually get checks from the government every month. And they're not doing that great. So, Great Reset. Yeah, I guess that's what we're headed towards. The Rockefellers just made a partnership with Mr. Beast to inspire young people to take action and make things happen. Philanthropic. Beast is philanthropic, supposedly. So the Rockefeller Foundation actually teamed up with them. Because when kindness goes viral, big change is possible. Here's the about birth rates. Most people are not having children because of cost of living. Most people can't afford it. They can't buy a house or a place where they would want to have kids. Men can't make enough money to support a family and have the wife stay home, certainly. Women don't make enough money on their own either. And even if they team up, they can't buy a house. So this is what people are saying is the reason they're not having kids.
We're not making enough babies, and that has all sorts of implications for society. More pensioners to support, fewer young people to pay for that, and the question of what role immigration might play in offsetting those issues. But first, here is the global picture. The human population is projected to reach its crest within the century, but then it starts to decline. Now, this shows what is called the replacement rate. To keep a country's population stable, every woman must have 2.1 babies. So above the dotted line, the population is replaced. Below, it declines. And you can see that global decline in the rate in orange, but it's more pronounced in certain areas, including Europe here in dark blue and in the UK in red. The general consensus to date is that people are opting, they're choosing to have fewer children. But what if we've got it the wrong way around? A new report from the UN argues that the fertility crisis isn't a matter of desire, but of constraints. People want to have more kids, but they're not able to. This is a big survey, 14,000 people from 14 countries across 5 continents. And a lot of people, the most common answer here, actually said they had the ideal number of kids. But nearly a third of people, a big chunk, say they would have liked to have more kids. So what is stopping them? Well, more than half of people listed financial barriers. For example, affordable housing, childcare options, and job security. That's in orange. Then there are other concerns around healthcare. And 1 in 5 here at the bottom said they had fears about the future, whether that's wars, pandemics, climate change, and that was holding them back. How to fix all of that? Well, the report warns against what it calls simplistic or coercive responses, such as baby bonuses or fertility targets, arguing that these policies largely ineffective and can violate human rights. Instead, the UN is urging governments to empower people to make reproductive decisions freely, including by investing in affordable housing, decent work, and parental leave.
Parental leave. Apparently in Sweden, they get like a year off when they have a kid, all paid for. But other people still have to pay for that. So you have to have the right society for that to happen. They can't afford it. Yep, that's what I would think. People can't afford to have kids right now. The old affordability crisis. So I don't know if I have any more. I have something about home sales that they're building tiny homes for people to solve the affordability crisis, but they're just making tiny homes. They're not even real homes. I'll play that.
Well, this new home listing in St. Paul caught our eye. It is 460 square feet, and it could be perfect for a buyer who doesn't need a lot of space. As photojournalist Tony Peterson and Connor White show us, sometimes bigger is not always better.
I want them to glow. I want them to be special.
Shannon Bryant owns Glow Tiny Homes, a home builder on a smaller scale.
Tiny homes. Hey, there's a whole cable channel dedicated to tiny homes.
We found this tiny home on Zillow. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 460 square foot home, the second home Bryant's company has built.
Our homes are anywhere from 500 up to 1,000 square feet. We're staying in that range.
A range that's more affordable and manageable for many, including first-time home buyers and those looking to downsize.
I can go into this house. I've got my bedroom, my kitchen, everything's on one level. I mean, it's perfect.
Priced at $259,000, this tiny home in St. Paul is one-level living, like an apartment or condo, a standalone home in a smaller package.
It does qualify for insurance. You can finance it, everything.
The tiny footprint also means less cost, especially utilities.
Bills have been anywhere from $50 to $100 a month. This is a cleaning dream.
Brian says as housing prices keep growing, tiny homes can help people who still want to own their own home.
I think there would be a great opportunity to have, a larger development of tiny homes, maybe targeting the 55 plus community.
It may be smaller, but Brian says it has almost everything the bigger ones do.
I dream that someone will be in here by the holidays, would be my hope.
With photojournalist Tony Peterson, Connor White, WCCO News.
There you go. No storage space, no garage. People don't need as much stuff, but it requires a drastic change in living. $260,000 for something that might go up in value, I guess, but who can live there? Old people. People aren't going to have kids, basically. Not a solution, really. Some people are talking about a 50% collapse in housing prices next year, which will really rock the world. All right, let me see what else we want to talk about today. I have some news on Candace Owens. I have some news on Israeli troops caught on video killing 2 Palestinians after they appeared to surrender. I can't show you the whole video, but Israeli troops are on camera basically killing these guys who totally want to surrender. I can show the beginning of the video where they're surrendering. I can't show you where they get shot and killed, but I've seen it. It's here on X. I can't show it to you on YouTube, I'm pretty positive. But here's of the people surrendering to show that they actually were surrendering. Okay, now I gotta pause it. After that, they get killed. Caught on video. BBC's reporting on it. So that's what's going on in Israel lately. Piers Morgan is talking about it at least. All right. Somebody said Candace Owens news is good for the algo. Well, let me show you AI replacement news a little bit. This is an AI influencer right here. So this is a completely synthetic character.
I guess the main thing is, wait, can we start over? Sorry. This guy, Jeff, he can't direct worth shit.
Who created you?
Jeff, don't worry, I'm working through it in therapy.
Yeah. What do you think of Jeff as a creator?
He's okay, not a fan really. Am I single? Maybe, but also technically I'm stored on a server in Iowa.
That's crazy. So that's the future of AI influencers. They'll certainly be able to take and recreate me. It wouldn't even be that hard. Eventually, YouTube will probably say, hey, content creators, we can synthesize you and just have you do a show and like split the earnings with you. Somebody said they bought me a coffee. Thank you for that. If you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. I will read what your comment that you leave at the end of the show. I appreciate it. It helps pay for my AI assistants that I use to make shorts. So that's a completely synthetic character. Pretty realistic. It's gotten too good. I told you they already have a completely synthetic female actress that they're pitching to talent agencies right now to work in Hollywood. Here is somebody replacing themselves, a gaming streamer, replacing their own face with this woman's face. So I'll show you that. This is face replacement. So you see the guy in the bottom left corner moving his head. So there will be gaming streamers that are just dudes that will appear as women. There you go. The comment on the tweet is, it's over and you know it. So that's the future, I believe. It's happening fast. I have some Tim Pool. All right. Speaking of Candace Owens and the French assassination plot, here's a weird video of a French soldier being really weird behind Macron and walking off during his speech. So it's loosely related to Candace Owens.
Poursuit trois objectifs précis. Renforcer. Ce service poursuit trois objectifs précis. Ce service poursuit trois objectifs. C'est le pacte noué entre notre nation et notre armée. Renforcer la capacité de résistance de notre nation. Résistance de notre nation. Résistance de notre nation. Consolider la formation de nos jeunes. là où nous soutenions l'ambition d'un service national universel pour conforter la cohésion au sein d'une classe d'âge, l'accélération des crises, le durcissement des menaces me conduisent à proposer aujourd'hui un service national purement militaire qui, sans être universel, peut engager.
Somebody in my chat said he had to poo real bad. Well, who knows? Anyway, the internet is making a fuss about it, acting very strange behind Macron. All right, so Candace Owens says that someone's going to assassinate her. There is this officer Tatum, who's like a super Israel first guy, came out and put out a video saying he believes her, but he actually hasn't seen the evidence yet. So this is Officer Tatum saying the tweet originally said he has seen the evidence, but he actually hasn't. But he believes her.
Brother, the American government, I don't care how much you don't like Candace. I don't care how much you've been trashing the American government and the FBI. They got to do something. And I'm going to tell you what they will do. It doesn't matter right, wrong, or indifferent. They have to investigate this. They have to investigate this. And I think that if it is found to be true and the proof prevails, which I'm convinced, after talking to Candace and the stuff that we talked about, I'm convinced, then that means that there should be dire consequences for the French government and whoever else was involved, the Macrons or whatever, dire consequences. I'm talking about the American government should go after them like never before. Then, brother.
So there you go. There's Officer Tatum, who says we should turn Gaza into a parking lot, by the way. Maybe he's trying to make up for it. So he says he talked to her and he believes it, but hasn't seen the evidence yet. Nick Fuentes does not believe her. I play that clip. It's 3 minutes. Let's see.
Hail Macron, honestly, it's just such a Faustian way of dealing with Russian propagandists. Do you think Candy will be hiding in Moscow by the end of the year?
No, I mean, look, I will believe it when I see evidence. Here's the thing. Candace Owens says, oh, they're trying to kill me. We haven't seen a shred of evidence. Like, where's the evidence? She just sounds crazy. She's going on Instagram saying that Brigitte Macron's ancestors were chocolatiers in Nazi Germany. I'm not making this up. They're Judenrat chocolatiers. They're Jewish spies or something, or they're ratting out the Jews. I didn't follow that actually, what she was saying about that, but that's the word she used. She said they were like Jewish spies in Nazi Germany running a chocolatier. They were chocolatiers. Then they came over to America in Project Paperclip. And then Brigitte Macron was a victim of MK Ultra and the Stanford prison experiment. And then she was given over to Macron to like spy on him on behalf of Israel. And that's why Macron is protected by Mossad. Like, that's the story. And Charlie Kirk was killed because she was going to blow the whistle. And now she's going to get killed by the French. And it's like, what a coincidence that all those conspiracies are connected to this, right? Like, Brigitte Macron. And like, you know what is really funny? Their only evidence that Brigitte Macron is a man is that they ran her face through facial recognition AI, and she has a partial match with a childhood photo of her brother. That's the evidence. And from that, we are getting the rest. So we are extrapolating, this 80-year-old woman looks like this grainy photo of her brother as a child. So based on that, we could go back to the French Revolution. The Trognos were missionaries during the White Lotus Rebellion in China. That's why they call the show White Lotus. Centuries later, they're Frankists. And they're in Nazi Germany making chocolate, and then they get sent to America with Werner Braun and Project Paperclip. Then they're in Stanford prison experiment and getting MK Ultra. Now they killed Charlie Kirk. And they're like Forrest Gump. They're like Forrest Gump times 6 million. The Trognos. It's like sympathy for the devil. They were the Knights Templar. They were the Illuminists. They were the Masons. They were the Bolsheviks. They were the Nazis. They were the CIA. If she could produce a shred of evidence, I might find it believable. I don't wish any harm on her. I hope she's okay. I hope her family's okay. I hope it's not real. I don't want her to get murdered, obviously. I want her to live a long and happy life. But
so anyway, there's his take on it. Don Mantra Beat says, I genuinely think Candace might be going through some kind of psychotic break. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but it's amazing that that's what people like, if it's true. But hey, who knows? She could show the evidence. She just hasn't shown the evidence yet. I'm in the same boat. It's like, it sounds insane. It does sound completely insane. But she's got emails about Egyptian planes. She's got people calling her saying they're close to the Macrons. This is what Tim Pool says about it, which involves the fact that conservatives are not doing well right now. Regular conservatives are not doing well right now online. I saw a cat turd bitching about it. I think it's probably particularly the Israel supporters and the Trump supporters who are doing the worst. But this is Tim Pool talking about how conservative commentators have gone down, and then he throws shade at Candace just to show you the beefing.
There's a lot of conversations that are happening behind the scenes with prominent personalities in the independent media space, libertarian, conservative, etc. And I spare drawing people into drama. That's why I'm not going to call anybody out. But I've been talking to a lot of people, and I've mentioned this over the past week or so. Everybody knows that views right now in politics are in the gutter.
Okay.
Candace is doing very, very well, though.
Right.
And I think, look, if you want to get my professional marketing assessment of this, you take a look at some of these prominent personalities, and I don't want to denigrate, so I'm not going to name them, but guys, I'm telling you this right now. Go on YouTube, pull up whatever conservative personalities that you've heard of, and look at their view count, and you'll see they've dropped dramatically. You'll also see Candace is doing pretty dang well. The conversation behind the scenes, everyone knows why. It's exactly as you've described. If people always need the next level, we've talked about this in the past about how they call Trump Hitler. It starts with saying, Trump is bad. Then Trump is racist. Then Trump is very racist. Then he's the most racist. Then he's almost as bad as Hitler. Then he's as bad as Hitler. Then he's worse than Hitler. Because if they write the same article, Trump is racist, nobody clicks it. So they got to give you it's the hit's got to get bigger. You don't feel it anymore. Behind the scenes, everybody is pissed off because they're like, I wish I was as evil as some of these people where I can just lie to get the views. But if you make a video where you're like, Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns, here are my thoughts. Everyone knows. Bro, everyone knows Marjorie Taylor Greene's resigning. So why are they going to watch you over anybody else? As more people enter the space, and we're at the back end of a political year, which was this year is ending, and it was a non-political year. Views are going to be in the gutter, revenue is going to be down, and people are going to be feeling it. You got two choices: stay true, dance with the ebb and the flow. Next year's midterms, views will start increasing for political content. I'm sorry, you got three choices: pivot and try and do non-political stuff, cultural stuff that may be of general interest. I think we've tried doing that quite a bit throughout the past several years, knowing this cycle. So that's why some of our videos, like Solar Storm videos, like 200,000 views. But we've always had those guests on. Your third option: roll with it, baby. France wants to kill me. There's an Israeli in it. The White House knows. I'm fleeing, and then
there you go. So that's one view. I know some people saying they hate Tim Pool. That's true. Yeah, I don't really regularly watch his show, but I'm interested. Does seem like conservative commentators have gone down. I did a video talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I guess everybody does it now because it used to get you a lot of views. Don't know. Whenever I talked about politics, it didn't get that many views. Most of my subscribers come from conspiracy theory videos, some of which, in retrospect, were really stupid. And I was totally wrong about them. And I'm kind of insane, too. So, not surprised that Candace is doing so well talking about conspiracy theories. And people are way into it. But I'm not going to say she's lying. In fact, I do think somebody called her and told her the French government was trying to kill her. So I'm more concerned about the motives of that person if it's not true, basically. And if she's making it up, I just don't think she's making it up. That's all. I think that would be weird. It doesn't like I kind of know Candace Owens stuff well enough to say she wouldn't just totally make something up like that. In which case, it would just be a case of like not vetting it thoroughly, which could be difficult if she's being psyoped. So if she is having a mental breakdown, it could be because people are trying to make her have a mental breakdown. But people are starting to talk about pop culture instead. So they talk about Netflix shows and so forth, which I'm not going to ever get into, I don't think. I tried to do a movie review once, I think. But I watched the latest season of Stranger Things over the Thanksgiving break. I watched all 4 episodes. It's all right. It's not as good as it used to be. People are saying it's like some kind of subliminal way to show kids being mouth raped. I think that's a stretch. I see people saying that. They're like the evil guy puts some kind of tube in these kids' mouths and like force feeds them spiders or something. Some kind of evil stuff. People are saying it's like some kind of way to show kids being orally. I'm like, I don't know. You're a little weird if you think that. It seems like a classic kind of horror show kind of thing, but apparently TPUSA isn't doing well, according to Tim, too. I'll play that clip, even though people hate Tim Pool. I can see that in the chat. Well, my show is on at the same time as his, so I appreciate that. Here's what he's saying about TPUSA. Just because I don't talk to any of these people, so I don't have the inside.
I don't know. You know, what I will say is there's a good point you made about TPUSA is absolutely reeling. And nobody wants to say anything publicly because everybody, I don't know, look, man, I've been talking to a handful of people behind the scenes, and I'll give them some respect by not saying their names. But everyone's very pessimistic. And their concern is that, and I said it before, I'll say it again, Turning Point's not going to make it without Charlie.
No.
Behind the scenes, everybody's like, of course. Then on camera, most people are just like, well, and I'm like, well, you know me, dude. If nobody speaks out and calls it out now, the whole thing breaks apart.
Right.
If no one has the strength, just be like, guys, Candace is ripping everything apart for views, and there needs to be. I don't know, man. I don't know how you help Turning Point without Charlie. That's just the reality of it. But if everybody just wants to be quiet and pretend, this is why the right loses all the time. The Washington Generals, Democrats of the Harlem.
Right.
I don't know. You know what?
Democrats of the Harlem Globetrotters, really? I don't know about that. I'd say the Trump movement is being ripped apart not because of Candace Owens. Candace Owens is a symptom of what's going on. People have turned on Israel, and that's the trend. People like to see quote unquote anti-Semitic content. So people follow people who are anti-Israel more. So they're turning away from Ben Shapiro's outfit. They're turning away from, well, people don't even watch Fox News for real. So people never really watched Mark Levin. He just happens to be on TV. So Israel was a big thing. And then for other reasons of Donald Trump kind of going back on what he said. And then the fact that people are just pissed off because the economy sucks for most people. And if conservative commentators aren't doing well, it's because most conservative commentators just suck Trump's thing. I mean, they just lick his butt. And people don't want to hear it. As far as I can tell, people don't want to hear it when people just say, oh, Trump is the best. Everything Trump does is the best. Trump supports Israel. He bombed Iran. We support Israel. We like bombing Iran. Trump is doing a drug war in Venezuela and is going to go to war with Venezuela. We're going to support that too. People don't want to hear it. They'd probably rather hear like the Young Turks. But Democrats still aren't more popular as far as podcasts go. then people are mostly on the right. Joe Rogan still has a huge podcast. He's turned away from the Democrat point of view. But if I had to say it, it's because people are upset with the way things are going. Republicans are in charge. And most of these people, including Tim Pool just went on TV saying how great Trump is and how Democrats have no chance. It's like, that's not what it looks like. Democrats have a really good chance because the economy sucks and they're socialists. And people like that. Or they think they will. Or they just want to change. Republicans won last time. Nothing's gotten better so far. So they're thinking, well, why did I vote Republican? But some things have gotten better. The problem is like people don't care about those issues anymore because the LGBTQ thing or the trans thing, basically, most states have come around, it seems like, on a lot of things. Not California, but it's not as big of an issue, the trans issue, which was kind of a big issue in 2024. Then immigration was a big issue when the border was open. Now that it's closed, it's not a big issue anymore. And people are split on the deportations. Some people really like them. Some people really don't. But it's no longer like a dominant issue where most people agree with Trump, where he said he was going to get the bad ones out, the ones committing all the crimes. And he hasn't really deported that many people. It's very hard to deport people. So he hasn't really done that much. If anything, I think that's maybe the reason people are losing viewers is because because you used to get viewers just by supporting Trump, 100%. Cat Turd was huge because he just pumped Trump and people loved it. I saw that from the minute Trump hit the scene. And I never really was good about chasing the algorithm or chasing the views because I didn't do that. And I didn't jump on QAnon. If I wanted to get views and get a big channel, I would have been decoding QAnon like Jordan Sather or Alex Jones or Jerome Corsi or Tracy Beans, who got huge just talking about conspiracy theories about QAnon, which was one of the worst psyops of all time. So it's nothing new. People love the conspiracy theories. Like I said, I got most of my audience from that. Most of my subscribers who don't watch the show anymore. And, and my subscriber count is going down, overall since I came back, which is fine because they get the notifications in their feed and they're like, oh, I don't watch that show anymore because he doesn't talk about the things I want to. But that's life. That's how people are. And you can find all kinds of conspiracy stuff on Instagram now and TikTok. So Ian Carroll is kind of popular. But Project Veritas did put out a story where they released text messages showing they did want to blackmail Candace Owens, apparently. These are legitimate text messages, which I guess they must be, from Mary Barr Daly, Bill Barr's daughter, who is working at the DOJ, sent text messages about how they should be blackmailing Candace Owens and blackmailing some other male individual who is not named, who they threatened to send an underage girl after him to put him in jail. They said the harder one is Candace because she's very resistant. And Candace Owens, we need to blackmail her faster. So that did come out. And that's from 2021. So Candace Owens has been the target of the U.S. government. So, and I've been the target of some psyops too in the past. All right. Finally, there's a little news about aliens. Some people are saying that Donald Trump is going to disclose that aliens are real. Here's somebody saying that aliens are real. Retired U.S. Army colonel.
Somewhere in this country, there are craft that are being held from that have landed here or crashed here. And there are biologics, human, non-human bodies.
That's correct.
Someplace in this country?
Someplace.
In this program.
Correct.
Somewhere in this country,
There you go. There are aliens. So that's what we're supposed to find out about. And there's some kind of documentary on Amazon talking about it called The Age of Disclosure. So, all right, let's check out our coffees. You want to see something about the collapse of the sneaker market? I'll show you that just to show you. This is an economic news. I don't know what it means, but I have a feeling things that people used to spend money on, they're going to stop spending money on. So we'll see. This is a
Does
little
anyone
clip.
want to explain why shoes are literally just dying right now? I own a sneaker store and we've been struggling for the last couple months. And y'all can say, oh, it's because you overprice things. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, it's a Yeezy. You're overpricing it. It's $110. Retails like 2 something. Market's like 190. I'm pricing it at 110. It's brand new. An off-white lot dunk, which you haven't been able to get for 4 years now. Used to be going for $500 to $600. Market's like $400. We have them priced at $320. A shoe that's sold out, hard to get. A SB Navy 4. It's used, but $210. That's like retail. And then you have stuff that are like Jordan 1s, like these shattered backboards that just came out. We were charging like $170 for them or something like that, which retails higher. And then we got like Lucky Greens, the Royal Toes. All these things are going for well under retail, and we have them priced under retail. For example, like a yellow ochre, which is not even a bad shoe, is going for like $90 in store here, which is crazy. Retails like what, 170? It's definitely an interesting time in the sneaker world right now. And you'd think that people would be coming to sell us their shoes too, because the market's down. They just want to get rid of some stuff. But that's not even the case. We haven't had a lot of people coming to.
So that's it. That's news about the sneaker market. We'll see. Fine art market, car market, watch market, all these things people were spending their money on. The Pokemon market, Bitcoin's already down 40%. All the things people were spending money on. If they run out of money, which seems like is happening, although Black Friday went okay, then stuff is going to go down in price. Lots of stuff. Deflation. And then they'll just print more money. So we'll see what happens. Buy gold. Buy some Bitcoin too, probably. Send me coffees. I'll share this. Let's see what we got. That's fine. My computer froze. I have a new computer I'm setting up, so we'll see how that goes. That's what we got in the Black Friday deals. Because this computer is old and slow. I just switched tabs, but it's spinning a wheel at me. Dual Merrill says everything is dying. Yeah, lots of people buy things because they go up in value. Shoes had gone up in value previously. If you got them, it didn't switch. Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to stop screen. And I'm going to share screen. Here is this. I think I refreshed it. So I got a few coffees. Coffees are a great way to support the show. The branch sent a coffee, 2 of them in the last few shows. Says, could you revisit the origin of Black Friday? Also, maybe you could explain what a short is in the stock market. Is that when something on a low shelf? I was talking to Branch the other day. Okay, we'll talk about shorts one day. And then Kwai Chang Dave bought a coffee the other day, said, good to see you on your old channel again. Thanks for that. A couple coffees. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. We're getting the channel evaluated for remonetizing. So we'll have the chance for super chats, but coffees are a lot better and you can send them after the show's over. Reminder that we have shirts for sale for $5 each. super deals at truthclothing.io, which I ran earlier on the show. And thanks everybody for tuning into the show today. And we'll be back Monday, probably. We'll be back Monday. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. And we'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.